Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real tale with you. Friends, today's story is one of the story in which the police, with the help of water, brought a 2-year-old kidnapping case to light. We have often heard that we should not judge a person by their appearance or clothing, because sometimes circumstances force people to act in certain ways. So let's find out what happened in this story that brought a 2-year-old kidnapping case to the forefront and who was kidnapped and how it happened. We will reveal all these details in this video. At Kanpur Central Railway Station, the railway police force was patrolling. Among the 3 patrolling officers were Inspector Aslam Khan, Arati Kumari, and ASI Harishankar Tripathi. They were patrolling the entire area to ensure no thefts were happening and no one was harassing anyone. Inspector Aslam Khan's attention is drawn to a man whose clothes were torn, hair disheveled, and barefoot. The man repeatedly approached the dustbin, looked inside, and took out an empty water bottle. Finding it empty, he then approached the travelers standing at the railway station, watching them drink water. At that moment, the entire police team was observing him, as his demeanor suggested he was extremely thirsty, running around in search of water. The policeman approached him and asked what he was doing and what he needed. The beggar replied that he was very thirsty and needed water. Out of humanity, the policeman fetched him a bottle of water from nearby. As soon as he received the bottle, he quickly drank the water. The first words he spoke were, "Thank you very much." The police were surprised because, judging by his appearance, it seemed he might not know Hindi well. That is Indian main language, but he said, "Thank you very much," as if he were very proficient in English. Then the police asked him again, "Who are you? Because the way you spoke English, it doesn't seem like you are uneducated. The way you spoke makes it seem like you are a very educated person." Initially, the beggar gets very nervous, and the police are now uncertain and suspicious of him, so they take him to their office. There, they question him, and the beggar tells them everything in English, saying, "Sir, my name is Mahavir." Then the police ask him how he ended up in this condition. He tells them, "Sir, I am not actually a beggar. I come from a very wealthy family, but right now I am very scared. But since you are the police, I will tell you everything." However, the police are still suspicious of him and do not fully believe his story. Then he tells the policeman that he has a story. The policemen say, "So, tell us your story." He says, "My name is Mahavir, and I am 29 years old. I am from Uttar Pradesh. I live with my parents and brother. Our family is good, and I am very well educated. Everything was going well for me until 2022, but then my life changed. On June 26, 2022, my family asked me to withdraw some money from the ATM. When I went out to withdraw the money, I checked the nearby ATMs, but all of them were closed. So I thought of going a bit further to withdraw the money, and then I went to Bidhuna. Then he said that he took a bus and reached Bidhuna. There he had a friend named Mahendra who worked at a bank. I went to the bank to withdraw the money because none of the ATMs were working. After withdrawing the money, I went back to the bus stop to return home. I was alone at the bus stop. There was no one else. I was waiting for the bus, but the bus didn't come. A car stopped in front of me, and 2 men got out and stood in front of me. I thought they were going to ask for directions, but suddenly a hand covered my mouth, and they forced me into the car. After that, I don't know what happened because they probably drugged me. Then he told the police that when I opened my eyes, I found myself in a toilet. My hands were tied, and I don't know how long I was locked in that toilet. But then a man came and took me to a room. There, they beat me severely and took all the money I had along with my ATM card. They asked me for my PIN, and I told them because they were beating me badly. After that, I don't know how much money they withdrew from my account and how much they left. Whenever I regained consciousness, they would beat me again and then inject me with some drug, making me unconscious again. I don't know how many days I stayed in that room, nor could I tell whether it was day or night. Then Mahavir told that one day, they put me in a car and took me to a construction site. They told me to work there. I broke stones and did labor work. They gave me food there, and in the evening, they brought me back in the car to the same room. I couldn't understand their language. They weren't speaking Hindi, Bhojpuri, or English, but some other language that I didn't understand. Here, Mahavir worked every day, and on the other hand, His family was very worried about him because it had been many days since Mahavir had left the house without informing his mother or father. Even if he did leave, he used to come back on time because he was a very good person. He didn't have any addiction issues, nor did he drink alcohol. He was a very kind and intelligent boy. Now, after many days had passed, his family became very worried. They wondered what had happened to him. They went to the police station and filed a report for Mahavir. But the police didn't write any report and sent them back, saying that he was a grown boy and might have gone somewhere with his friends and would come back in a few days. But those days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, but there was no trace of Mahavir. The family became very scared, thinking something might have happened to Mahavir. They kept going to the police station and kept getting the same response, that they were trying, but Mahavir had still not returned home. Then Mahavir tells the police that those people would take him to the construction site in the morning and lock him in a room in the evening where they would beat him. They gave him some food, but along with that, they also gave him some intoxicating drugs so that he wouldn't try to escape. He said that the effect of the drugs had become so strong that he couldn't even remember who he was or where he came from. His mind had completely stopped working, and he was always in a state of intoxication. He had resigned himself to his fate, thinking that this was how he would have to spend the rest of his life. Then he said that gradually, the effect of the drugs started to wear off. He began to feel that the drugs were no longer affecting his body as they used to. He started to think and understand things a little better, and his mind began to function again. But he acted as if he was still under the influence of the drugs in front of those people. He made a plan to escape, but he didn't know where he was or which area he was in. At the construction site, people spoke in a language he didn't understand. He knew it wasn't Bhojpuri, Hindi, Marathi, or Gujarati, as he was familiar with these languages. Then it occurred to him that it might be a South Indian language. One day when he returns from work, they lock him in a room and leave, thinking that he is in effect of the drug and will fall asleep. But at midnight, Mahavir escapes on foot and runs so far that he doesn't know where he is. As he keeps running, he reaches a railway track, and following it, he arrives at a railway station where he boards a train without knowing its destination. He transfers from one train to another multiple times until he leaves the south without knowing where he is. Eventually, he reaches North India. He knows he wants to go up, but he doesn't know how or from where. After traveling in several trains, he gets off at Darbhanga railway station in UP. He realizes he recognizes the station, and the name sounds familiar. He starts asking people which train goes to Kanpur station, because that's the direction of his home. Without any money or food, he looks like a beggar, and people help him out by giving him water or food to survive. He boards a train to Kanpur station, and upon arriving, he is extremely thirsty and starts running around in search of water. And just like that, he met with the police and told them his whole story. Now the police officer asks, "All right, you've given us your home address, but do you have any contact number?" He thinks hard and then remembers a number. It was his uncle's son's number. He gives this number to the police and tells them it belongs to his cousin Ravinder. The police call this number, and when Ravinder answers, the police ask, "Are you Ravinder?" He replies, "Yes, I am Ravinder." Then they ask, "Do you know a boy named Mahavir?" Ravinder is surprised and says, "Yes, he is my brother, but he has been missing for 2 years. He might not even be alive now." Then police said, "He is standing in front of us." But Ravinder said, "No, that's not true then." The police officer says, "Let me make a video call and show you that your brother is indeed standing in front of us." During the video call, the police officer shows himself and then turns the camera towards Mahavir. As soon as Ravinder sees Mahavir, he says, "No, this is not my brother," because his hair was very long, he had a big beard, and his clothes were torn. But when Mahavir calls him by his name, Ravinder recognizes his voice and realizes that if his beard and long hair were removed, he would indeed look like Mahavir. Ravinder says, "Keep him there. We will come to the station with the whole family." Then he calls Mahavir's younger brother and tells him, "Mahavir has been found at Kanpur station. Come quickly." And then all of Mahavir's family members arrive there. As soon as they see Mahavir, they start crying because they hadn't seen him in 2 years, and had given up hope that he might still be alive. But as soon as they see him alive in front of them, they become happy. Then they hug him, and the police send Mahavir back to his family, and they go home. But so far, it has not been found out who kidnapped Mahavir and why he was kidnapped. What is the motive behind his kidnapping? So, this was today's story. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable.